This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, internet world. Oh, I don't think I have my camera set correctly. West Alabama, how we doing today on The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. The Joe Gaither Show on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. I am Joe Gaither. You are the listener, and we appreciate you so much for hanging out with us on the show. This is Wild Wednesday. We're live in the Derry Daniel State Farm Studios, starting to get you into the college football offseason, but not quite yet. Alabama still has one more game to play, the ReliaQuest Bowl. Are you going to Tampa to watch Alabama take on Michigan for New Year's Eve? We'll talk about that in a couple of days. But we want to talk about roster management, roster movement, because that is the main storyline that's happening in college football right now. It is obviously Creighton Hate Week. We will get excited about the Creighton Blue Jays, that basketball game on Saturday as Alabama returns to Coleman Coliseum. But of course, we are live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. I'm joined by my friend Mason Woods. You can follow him on the Twitter machine at MAWoods_. Call Derek and his team at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel and State Farm is there. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Mason Woods, halfway through the week, my man. Not raining today.
No,
how we
nice
doing
day today? Finally got a bit of a break from the rain. It's nice. I mean, I'm doing pretty good. It's been a pretty slow week, honestly. You know, no Bama basketball, like you said, till Saturday. Just kind of waiting on the ReliaQuest Bowl to get here. So there's not a whole lot going on. You know, the recruiting front's been pretty quiet. Got a few things happening here and there. Some guys naming Alabama and they're like Final Five schools, but no commitments or anything. So yeah, it's been a pretty slow week.
All right, let's start with what you just talked about, Alabama basketball. You said basketball not here till Saturday. That's right. Oh, we had big news yesterday with Alabama basketball. AJ Devanza choosing BYU over Alabama, and we talked about it on the program yesterday. We alluded to an alleged $7 million NIL deal, and we think Alabama's offer was right around $3 million. Okay, that's great. We're over the emotion of losing to Devanza, and we don't need to talk about what it means for Alabama and how good it is to be in the finals again.
Mm-hmm.
What we didn't talk about yesterday, Mason, was reporting from Field of 68. AJ Devanza and his family reportedly signed their national letter of intent with BYU 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. That is, I mean, loose lips sink ships, man. Like they are running a tight ship over there at BYU, I guess.
Certainly a tight ship, but I'm angry. I'm mad on the behalf. Look, Nate Oates isn't going to go into the media and be mad. He'll be mad in behind his closed doors, I'm sure. It's fine to lose the kid. That's fine. It's fine that he chose somewhere else. Absolutely fine. The procedure's horrible. The process is awful. Because what has Alabama basketball been doing over the last 3 weeks?
Scrambling to try to sign him, get a deal together.
Exactly. Who can get more money? Can we get to his next game? Devanza's father on courtside tickets over for the ACC SEC Challenge right there. I mean, he knew his son was signed, and he went to Chapel Hill anyways to watch Alabama play North Carolina. Now, you're a basketball fan. That's a great game. Of course you'd go. But you tease? I don't care about teasing the fan base. Whatever. That's the resource allocation that Alabama basketball has been using over the last 3 weeks. Pouring money, pouring resources, pouring time into a dead end.
Yeah, I don't love this. I think it's kind of just disrespectful to the teams that are going out of their way to try to recruit you. It's almost a slap in the face to those teams. You just said, well, I already knew where I was going, but I'll string you along for a little bit and see what else I can get out of you. It's a real strange message to send. I would think that it probably leaves a sour taste in Nate Oates' mouth, probably leaves a sour taste in Hubert Davis's mouth, and
Preston Murphy.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, man. Very, very questionable decision to handle it this way, to make such a spectacle of it, and to continue to lead these teams on, knowing, full and well you have already locked yourself in with your NLI. It's just weird. That's about all I can really say. I mean, it is strange, a bit disrespectful, I think.
Exactly. I mean, choose any school you like for any reason.
Sure.
I don't care. NIL, playing time, opportunity, academics, women, whatever. I don't care. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But it's a really, really bad look.
It's nasty work.
It's nasty. It's because look, if you're Alabama and you think that if you're any program, it's not Alabama, it's Alabama specific. It has just happened to Alabama. If you are any program and you think, oh, we have a chance to get the best player in the class, you're going to, hey, we're top 3. Oh, we're top 2. We're still going in on it. You're still, what's AJ want this week? What's AJ want that week? Well, when can we talk to AJ? What's the best thing that we can do for, like, I'm flabbergasted, to be honest with you. And I'm trying not to be that emotional, but obviously I am. If you're Nate Oates, if you're Preston Murphy, if you are recruiting for the University of Alabama, you've got to feel really disrespected. And again, it's fine that you chose someone else, and it's totally fine if you wanted to choose someone else and you had to wait till December 10th because that's when First Take had a slot open for you. Right? First Take, we want to be on First Take. Well, this is your slot. Well, we already know where we want to go. This is your slot. That might have been what happened. It's perfectly fine if you made your decision 3 weeks ago and you just want to say, yeah, we're going to just
announce it
in 3 weeks, right? Oh, by the way, Alabama, I still want to come to a visit, even though you're out. I promise you, Alabama would have had you on the visit. Alabama, we still want tickets to you. It would just have been good business to keep that relationship going from Alabama's standpoint.
I completely agree.
I just think it's a bad look. And will it come back to burn you? Maybe, maybe not. Like, you're a high level prospect, you're probably gonna walk right into BYU's program and be a starter, 40 minutes, 35 minutes a game guy. And
I just wonder if maybe, and I hope this does not do this, but if sets a precedent for future recruits, future prospects of a similar caliber, or even ones that aren't of that kind of caliber, maybe just continuing to flirt with schools, try to basically seemingly extort them for as much money as they can get out of them, knowing, like I said earlier, full and well they've signed somewhere else. What do you make of and this is on the same topic, but a little bit, shifting away from it a bit. The Utah Jazz right now are one of the worst teams in the NBA. Very likely have a decent chance at getting a top tier NBA pick, one of the top 3 picks potentially. Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith is a BYU alumni. Danny Ainge, CEO of basketball operations, BYU alumni. I believe both of them had a major hand in landing AJ DeBonsa. Are they tanking to get AJ DeBonsa? And is this all a big conspiracy? You get him to come to BYU and then you just usher him right into the Jazz? This feels this could have, I feel, major implications moving forward if more teams continue to maybe do something similar in the future. I don't know. And again, tinfoil hat, I don't know that any of this is even really happening. But it's certainly, there's a lot of weird things with this commitment, it seems.
I certainly think that the Utah Jazz are angling themselves to be in position to draft him in 2026. That's the only issue. It's like, you're tanking 2 years away. Like, obviously, your 25 draft, who are you going to get? You're probably going to take your whatever pick you can and turn it around for more picks in 26. But that's,
I guess
it seems like a long-term play here.
Yeah, it's weird. It's certain. I don't know what's happening. It's just, it seems like there's a lot of weird things going on at play here.
Top 20 players in 2026. Let's see what Bleacher Report. Obviously, DeBanza is going to be one of them. But you got number 1, Darian Peterson, prolific prep. DeBanza 2, Cameron Boozer, Carlos Boozer's son. I've heard that he's going to be really, really sought after as well. Nate Emmett. There's another name that I'm looking for that I saw earlier, but I didn't know who he was. But they're like, this guy's really good. I'm like, okay, great. I just think it's weird to be tanking 2 years out.
Everything is weird. This all just is strange. The whole situation with pretending to, not be signed, or not pretending, but just not telling anyone. It's all weird.
We got a comment from a friend, Mason, was, how much would you like this on our Twitter machine for Nate Oates to go out and schedule BYU next season?
I would
AJ, that's cool. You can have your fun at BYU. Hope you have a great year.
We'll go play you out there.
National Player of the Year. Yeah, we'll come find you in Provo and bring the tide out. I think that'd be great.
That would be awesome. I would love that so much. Please,
do you have
please,
a
Nate
huge
Oates.
contingent of Alabama fans going to that game?
I would think that I don't know, it'd be a large amount of people, but the ones that did go, I think would be loud. Yeah. I think it would be your diehards there.
We can schedule us a home and home with BYU.
That'd be pretty cool.
We'll go out there and then come back here when you don't have AJ.
I like it. Please, Nate Oates, make it happen. Sign me up.
Okay.
We can go beat them in their place.
We're hanging out here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios, and I'm with my friend Abby, as she is being such a good girl today. Really, she is. Look, that's all I have to say about AJ DeBanza. It's icky work. If you're signed, you're signed. That's fine. Make your decision. But to use any school's resources further, making them think time, money, effort, making them think that you're in play, it's just bad looking. It's bad karma. It's going to come back on you somehow, some way.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. I mean, that's just kind of like we said. It's nasty work. It feels icky.
All right, let's keep going here on the Joe Gaither Show, right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. We appreciate Derek and his team. Call him at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. All right, Mason, dealer's choice. You want to go with the two Colorado boys? You want to go with Jalen Milroe's award last night? Or you want to go with the snub from the All-SEC team?
Let's start with Jalen Milroe. Start with some positive. Good for Milroe for winning that award last night. I think he has shown sometimes this season he can be one of the top players at his position. I don't know if it's been necessarily consistent enough to garner an award, but good for him.
Well, there's some context to this award. Are you familiar with the Campbell Trophy?
Vaguely.
All right, so it is. Yesterday, he becomes the second Alabama player to win the Campbell Trophy. And okay, immediately a lot of you might go to Mason. His play was above average, almost really good.
I am remembering now.
Good. It was the play was
above average.
Yeah, it was good enough. Obviously, could have been better in some spots, but we've talked about that all season long. Really and truly, the Campbell Trophy is, here we go, here's the definition. Milroe is one of 16 finalists for the Campbell Trophy, presented annually to the college football's premier scholar athlete. Mm-hmm. The Campbell recognizes the individual as the best in the nation for his combined academic success, football performance, and exemplary leadership. He will receive $2,500 and a post-grad scholarship and a big trophy. So he's getting awarded for being a good player, but good grades, leadership, community service. The UA press release that came out, gave all his football stats, which you all know. And then it says, named to the 2023 College Sports Communicators Academic All-District Team, selected to the SEC Academic Honor Roll 3 times, a consistent contributor to the Tide's community service effort. Milroe volunteers his time in both the Tuscaloosa community and his hometown at Katy, Texas. The last bullet point represented UA at the joint meeting of the SEC Student Athlete Leadership Council and the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. So it's kind of college football's good guy award.
Yeah, I'm seeing here people call it the academic Heisman.
Yes.
This is less of a on-field award and more of an off-field award, certainly.
You got to be a good player.
Yes. To be in the conversation, you got to be good, but then to win it, it's all about the stuff you do off the field. And Jalen Milroe does a lot of great things off the field. Everything I have ever seen about him, every interaction I've ever had in any sort of press conference or anything has always been extremely positive. He seems like a very, very nice guy. I've never heard anybody say a bad word about him, really. So I tend to believe he is a pretty nice fella.
Every interaction that I've always had with him has been positive, even in moments where they've not had success,
Mhm.
obviously after losses from. So that's been
Now,
a challenge.
we don't see his personality very often, so take that as you will. He went to the Jalen Hurts School of Media Training, where it's just, I'm happy to be here and help my team succeed, and we're going to do whatever we can to keep going forward.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Whatever answer I can give you so I don't get fined and don't make any headlines. So congratulations, Jalen Milroe. You win the academic Heisman yesterday. Let me go into just a concept. He wins the academic Heisman.
The only other player from Bama to win it,
Barrett Jones.
Barrett Jones.
Did you notice? Oh, well, because he won the award, maybe it got announced 8, 9 o'clock, something like that, somewhere in there. And it's just, where do you stand on this, Mason? Because Jalen Milroe, you're seeing all the fake tweets over the last day and a half. I'm coming back. I'm leaving. I'm transferring. I'm this. They're all fake tweets.
Yep.
We don't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Hasn't made a decision.
We all have an idea what he might do, but nothing's been announced. So if you've seen a tweet and you said, Jalen Milroe is coming back, that's not a real tweet. But on this concept, every time his name has been mentioned in the last 2 weeks, a large contingent, Mason Woods, I cannot wait to not have to watch Jalen Milroe ever again. I cannot wait till he never wears crimson again. I cannot wait till we move on to quarterback X, Y, or Z. And that just gives me just disgust.
Yeah. I think it's a bit overreactionary to it. I think people are still, that Norman game is still fresh in people's minds. That Tennessee game, that Vanderbilt game of this year is still fresh in people's minds. And, it's the nature of football that the quarterback is the easiest person on the field to blame. So, given this is Alabama's, just objectively, this is the least successful Alabama season, the season Alabama has had in 10 years or so, he's going to get a lot of the blame. And I hate it for him. I don't think he deserves a lot of the blame. I think he deserves a portion of it, certainly. But he does not deserve the majority of it. There's 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense. All 22 of them came together to put 3 losing performances on the field. So I get it from the standpoint of there were certainly points this season where it looked like the offense was halted because of Jalen Milroe's inability at times. His lack of ability to push the ball downfield consistently, his lack of ability to maybe throw across the middle of the field. So I understand it from the aspect of, we've got this new coach who is supposed to be this offensive mind, this offensive guru, but he was hampered by okay quarterback play. Above average at times, good at times. But overall, I would say just kind of okay this year.
Inconsistent.
Yeah.
So much.
So I understand it. I think it's, like I said, I think it's a bit, it's unnecessary.
Do we understand it? Is it fair?
I think it's a little fair.
Oh,
a little bit. I don't think it's fair to badmouth Jalen Milroe. I don't think he, like I said, he's not the reason Alabama lost all 3 of those games this year, but he definitely did not help in a lot of those times either. I don't think it's unfair for fans to be excited about the prospect of what a new quarterback can do in this offense. I am excited to see what a new quarterback can do in this offense. Someone who can push the ball downfield consistently, maybe someone who can, find guys across the middle, who can hit guys on the outside and make accurate throws. I think the attitude is a little fair. I don't think it's necessarily fair to maybe make it vocal.
Okay.
You can feel that, because I feel it a little bit. Jalen, we've talked about, it was like an abusive partner almost this year at times. It was, oh, you're so awesome, you're so amazing, but then, 3 interceptions. It's just like he kept bringing me back in, and I wanted to root for him, but then he lay an egg on the road in Norman. So it's just very hard. I love Jalen Milroe. Like I said, I think he is a great guy. I think he has been a great face for the Crimson Tide. He's been a great representative of Alabama in his time here. But that being said, I understand why some people are ready for him to move on.
All right. So as you're talking, I'm searching my own feelings. And you said, I think it's fair to be excited about a new quarterback. And I'm like, ooh, that hit me, as I am. I'm excited about this quarterback competition. I am. I think, oh man, you might have some. The quarterback play might look incredibly different next year.
Yeah,
because of style. But I am look, we talked about it last week, and we talked about it Monday. We talked about it Friday about the college football playoff selection, and Monday. I'm an emotional person.
Yeah.
And probably, if I'm honest with myself, probably a little emotionally weak. And so I see Jalen Milroe. I see all that he puts in. I see the work that he does. I see the effort that it seems like he gives from my perspective, which is just on the edge of the inside, not the inside. We're not at practice. But we see, I think he works hard. I think he gives his all to the program.
I think he is one of the hardest workers on the team, probably.
I think that he is really doing what he knows to do to be the best possible. Yeah, maybe that can be altered, and you can debate that. But I just have a hard time with the crapping on players on the way out.
Yeah.
Because it didn't work out. And to say it didn't work out. He won 2 SEC championships. It was on 2 college football playoff teams. Granted, didn't win a national championship. Okay, frustrated you against Michigan, frustrated you in certain games, frustrated you against Oklahoma horribly, against Tennessee horribly this past year. But when I was like 12 or 13, Mason, when I was like 12 or 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, I started middle school wrestling and then getting into high school or whatever. And that was where I was first exposed to the not Thomas Jefferson, to the Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, man in the arena. It's easy to, people on the outside, it's easy to, criticize the man in the arena, but I just have a hard time with crudding, with taking a dump on a. Did he win you a national title? No, but he gave you a lot of. Shoot, I know you're upset about who was on the other end of Gravedigger and what happened to Isaiah Bond, but my gosh, how much enjoyment did you, the Alabama
still
fan,
watch that
get
play
over the last 12 months, sending that to your Auburn brethren? There's a lot of heroic moments for Jalen Milroe that I want as we most likely send him off to either the NFL or to another program or whatever he wants to do. I want to remember the entirety, not just, the stink bomb in Norman, but the entirety of, wow, there was some highlights as well. I mean, my mans went out to Texas A&M last year and took their souls on the road, essentially, with a bunch of B-level receivers, throwing the football for everybody who says you can't win with his arm. Like, he's got a lot of good memories.
Dude, I think the good outweighs the bad with Jalen Milroe. Unfortunately, the bad did come at some really, really unfortunate times. It was like the bad performances came in just spots where you really absolutely could not have them sometimes. But all that to say, I still think, there's more good there than there is bad. And have a little perspective on his whole career at Alabama. Think about all of the games he has won. He has won a lot more games than he has lost. He's made a lot more good plays than he's made bad. So, I don't think you have to crap on the guy.
I'm just emotionally weak, and I just need to be colder and say he wasn't good enough for the Alabama standard.
I mean,
my man, he's no AJ McCarron.
I think, with everything, the answer's somewhere in the middle there. You do have to have some of that. At the end of the day, he just wasn't good enough. It sucks. I love the guy, but at the end of the day, he just wasn't good enough. He wasn't this year. But he worked his tail off. Like you said, he, as far as we know, has done everything in his power, everything that he knows to do to try to be a better quarterback. So you can't fault him for not being one if he did everything to be a better one. It just didn't play out for him.
All right, let's keep it going on the Joe Gaither Show. We're going to talk about the SEC selections, all SEC selections in just a moment, and 2 players who were horrifically left off the list. Before we do, we want to tell you about our friends, Purple Turtle Roofing. They're the most reliable residential roof replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. Purple Turtle Roofing, whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. They're the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for your free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of the qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure you're prepared for any and all of life's storms. You can check them out online today at roofturtle.com. Mason Woods, SEC's all SEC team. The coaches put out their. Were the coaches watching any football this year?
I don't know. I do not know. I don't know what happened here.
6 Alabama players did get named to the all SEC team. The coaches put out their SEC team yesterday. Where's my Alabama list? Okay, she put this in a little convoluted spot. Yeah. Offensive lineman Tyler Booker, linebacker John Campbell, Malachi Moore, and Ryan Williams were all first teamers. Caden Proctor and was named on the second team, and Deontay Lawson was named all SEC third team. Okay, great. Good years for all 6 of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback Jackson Dart was named first team.
Fair.
Okay, that's awesome. Just
I got some problems with these first team receivers. I do. Luther Burden does not belong on this list. Luther Burden is a great receiver. He will be a top tier. He will be a top probably 20 NFL draft pick this year. He was not even top 10 in the SEC in receiving yards this season.
No, it's just respect. They're just giving him.
I do not
respect.
care about that. It is about what you did on the field this year. Where this is the college football playoff conversation all over again. It's not who deserves to be on the first team, because if it was about who deserves to be on the first team, Jalen Milroe deserves to be on the first team. He's worked his ass off for 3 years to get there. This is just ridiculous. It's Luther Burden. Like I said, you're a very talented receiver. You will be a first-round draft pick. You do not belong on the LCC first team this year. I'm looking at receiving stats. Andrew Armstrong from Arkansas, over 1,100 receiving yards. He gets a second team nod. That's ridiculous. Leads the league in receiving. Keandre Lambert-Smith from Auburn, again, over 900 yards receiving this year. 300 more than Luther Burden had. 8 touchdowns. Kevin Coleman from Mississippi State.
Are you taking up for an Auburn Tiger?
I'm taking up for the top 10 receivers in the SEC that did not get named. the number 10, Aaron Anderson, has 140 more yards than Luther Burden had.
Little Aaron Anderson?
This is just insane. Who made these lists? It seems like all of these coaches sat down and they said, well, let me just pull up the preseason list, transfer it on over. It's like, don't stop asking coaches to do this.
Please stop, because here's what happens. Eli Drinkwitz gets the email, or it goes to his office manager, right? He gets the email from the office, conference office, with the little PDF.
Yep.
Pull it out.
Little Google form or whatever it is.
Right. And you know what he does? No, not even that. He says, Glenda, fill this out for me.
Yeah, you're probably right. And Glenda says, let me just look online. Who's doing really well?
He says, Glenda, fill this out. Don't make me look bad. Just send it back by 5 o'clock. Because
it's so beneath these coaches to do this. It is such a waste of time for them in the grand scheme of what they have going on during the day. We talked about it yesterday, like especially this time of year when you have 100 kids out there that you don't know what they're doing next year. You got to re-recruit every one of them. It's insane. This is.
Let me put you in
it's a sham.
in my shoes in the summer as I'm filling out the preseason list in the media. And I got to admit, even from that perspective, it's flawed because your boy only prepares for Alabama season, really.
Yeah.
And then we look at opponents week by week by week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm filling out my ballot and I'm thinking, well, I don't want to put all Alabama kids on here because that's really stupid. That's very biased. That's not fair.
Yeah.
And so I'm Googling these other 15 programs.
Trying to make educated guesses,
Well, Quinn Ewers had a good year. Am I going to put Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck? What am I going to do? Because I do think I did have Jalen Milroe on my preseason one, or I think I put him at 2. But who am I going to put as my quarterback? And then running backs, I like Justice Haynes and Jan Miller, but they're probably not the best running backs in the conference. So I'm just Googling these guys.
Yeah. It's a flawed system.
It's terrible because now, thankfully, we don't use the coaches poll really in anything for anything significant.
No.
But in this, it's the same thing with the coaches poll every Sunday. Comes out, These coaches
Useless.
are watching their game
Mhm.
and their opponent's game. And in the Saturday night, the game is over to the Sunday day where they've got to fill out the coaches poll, but prep for the next week while also closing down the last week. They're not filling out
No,
these polls.
they
And
are
so you're like, Jackson Dart, that's probably a good little pick. I'm very glad Dylan Sampson did
Dylan
get his
Sampson-
due. They nailed the running back.
I will say Dylan Sampson getting all-purpose player feels like just he had a lot of yards, throw him there, because he only had 100 receiving yards this year.
Right.
He was not an all-purpose player. He was a running back.
Rightfully named to the first team All SEC running back, but it's just no, it's messed up.
It is. I don't understand that. I don't
look
really
at
know.
these linemen. Look at these linemen, because that's where I want to go to next. The two snubs. There's two huge, massive Alabama snubs. Not to have these two guys not first, second, or third team is a problem. But you look at these linemen on the first team. Cool. Kelvin Banks Jr., Will Campbell, Tyler Booker, Tate Ratledge, and Cooper Mays. And let me just back you up 6 months and say, Mason, who might be the 5 first-round draft picks in the SEC this year?
It's just so lazy.
It's stupid.
So lazy.
It's like we didn't even watch the games.
No.
And look, Will Hamill, good year. Tate Ratledge missed like 3 weeks.
Mhm.
Good player. Real good
Why
player.
is he on the first team?
Right.
Didn't even play the whole year.
Is Parker Brailsford a better center than Cooper Mays? Okay, debatable. But
He belongs on one of these teams.
yes, Parker Brailsford and Damani Jackson not being honored is
A travesty.
it makes this list invalid. It makes this list to me not credible. Of course, it's going to be the All SEC team for the rest of time in 2024. Yeah, so it's going to be credible. But it makes this like we're going to go 10 years from now and look up 2024 and be like, oh yeah, these guys were all good. They had good years. Damani Jackson? How much have we talked about him this year? All right,
He's been
who are the corners that they
sensational.
put?
Yeah, we got Trey Amos. Fine. Trey Amos is great.
Oh, Todd.
We got Nick Imanwari, which
Yeah, good player as well. Like these are good players.
I don't know, man.
I think that his spot really. Let's see what's a Malachi. I think his spot's really right there in that second team.
Yeah.
Malachi Starks really highly thought of,
Mhm.
but inconsistent. Really, Jermon McCoy. Didn't he have the interception for Alabama? Yeah, I think he did. I think his spot's really right there on that second team. You look at this. Oh, this third team is terrible. Not really, but he belongs in some. Dalen Everett, Damani Jackson had a better year than any Georgia cornerback. I'm sorry. Just turn on that Georgia Alabama tape and watch Ryan Williams cook those guys and see. Billy Bowman Jr., really great year at safety. Dan Jackson, you played for Georgia and you are a heavy hitter, but Damani Jackson had a better year than Dan Jackson for sure.
Yeah, this is I don't know. How do we fix it? Do we get a
fix it?
committee that has to sit together every Saturday and watch?
No, you just let the SEC network people
Yeah, that'd be
do
good.
it. Let Cole Kubelik, let Peter
Yeah.
Burns, let Roman Harper, the people who are paid to watch all 8 games every week.
Let them make a decision.
Right. I bet you. Look, you can talk about Cole Kubelik being an Auburn man all you want, but that man knows football.
Yes, he does.
Oh, and he is, you get a little Auburn mixed in, but of course it's going to happen. He's objective.
I think so.
He
I
is
really like him.
really objective. He will give Alabama its credit.
Mhm.
He'll criticize Auburn when it's due. He's just looking at the film. I love his work.
Yeah, I know I've given it a shout out before on this show, but like the weekly rundown that he does on Twitter every week of just the short, it'll be like a short 15, 20 words about each game. And it's the best.
Let those guys pick it.
Yeah.
Like the problem in the summer, I'll just say there's too many of us at SEC Media Day. They send that email out to all of us. And while I look in the mirror and I think, oh yeah, Joe, you're qualified. I might look around that room of thousands in the media and think, where have you been for the last 5? I haven't seen you. I've never seen, there's a lot of people voting for the SEC preseason award.
Sure.
I think you just narrow it down. You just pick yourself some qualified voters, whether it's 50 at 50. Look, I mean, there's beat writers all across the conference that would love to participate in this, I'm sure. But you qualify it in some sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would fix it.
Yeah, something got to be done because like it's just this list means absolutely nothing. It is basically useless to us because like you said, if you watched any amount of football this year from any of the SEC, you know that a lot of this is pretty invalid.
All right, let's go to our Facebook real quick before we move on from this topic. We want to circle back to the Jalen Milroe comments. Our friend CJ Watson is on Facebook, and you can comment on Facebook like CJ Watson. He says, "Good morning, Joe and Mason. If Jalen goes, I'll miss him. He brought some amazing memories, amazing moments to the Tide that no other quarterback could bring.
Agree.
He was a unique combination of skill sets that won us games that other players would not have been able to. I think he was the right fit for a couple of years of a very subpar offensive line play. Yeah, I will always view his quarterback tenure fondly."
This is a perfect perspective.
Yeah.
You acknowledge that it was not the most amazing thing ever, sure, but you also acknowledge that, dang it was pretty dang good.
Pretty special.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
You had lightning in a bottle a few times with Jalen Milroe.
there have been some bad quarterbacks that have played in Bryant-Denny Stadium before.
Mhm.
And I know Jalen Milroe is not the best quarterback that has played in
Far
Bryant-Denny
from the
Stadium,
worst.
but yeah, he's
Very far from the worst. I mean, there's been guys that started whole seasons that were worse. So yeah, I thank you, CJ, for a little bit of perspective on it. I think that's a great opinion to have.
All right, we're about what, 40 minutes, almost 40 minutes into this bad boy today. How you doing, Mason?
Doing good, doing good.
What you doing the rest of the day? Well, how are we spending this like weird lull before bowl season?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'll spend most of my day with Twitter on one monitor, just scrolling through, waiting for somebody to say, "Oh, I've committed here, I've committed to there. Oh, I'm taking a visit here this weekend," and then I'll probably, you watch me a nice video. I'll tell you what I was watching right before I left to come to the studio today was a good video about the worst college football teams of all time. And it was great. This guy, Empire on YouTube. Shout out to that dude. He makes some really high quality YouTube content. And it was he started with Iowa State. That was the first team he was getting into. Do you know Iowa State has not won a conference title since I think it was like 1922?
They almost had one.
Almost.
They got blown out.
It's got to be sad to be an Iowa State fan.
I scratched up a playoff bracket yesterday just because my buddies were talking about it. What do you think about this? What do you think about it? Where did I scratch it up?
Yeah, they're doing. Is ESPN doing like a tournament challenge like they do for basketball with the
maybe so?
This year?
They should. Here, what do you think about these first round wins?
Mm-hmm.
This is just gut feeling. I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into this, but my buddies were all, "This is what I think the bracket will be," so I got in on it. I had Clemson winning at Texas.
I like that. I think Clemson has a very good chance to get that upset.
Momentum and just grit.
It's just Dabo. And I don't love Dabo. He's got
God on his side.
I am a never Dabo. I am in the never Dabo camp. Do not ever bring him anywhere close to Tuscaloosa. But
he's taking his NIL and God out to Austin, Texas.
They're playing well. I gotta give it to
ATX to make it all.
I like Clemson in that game. I still think Texas is soft.
Yeah,
and I don't think Clemson
talented.
Is soft. Yes,
it's soft.
It's Ohio State. Talent coming out the creases.
I put Tennessee beating Ohio State as well.
I think Tennessee will just wear them out.
I had Penn State beating SMU at home. I had Indiana going to Notre Dame and winning.
Penn State and SMU is interesting. I think SMU has a chance just because of how explosive they can be on offense. If they can get going and start, hitting some deep shots, getting some explosive plays, they have a chance to where I think they have a chance to make that game interesting because I don't think Penn State can really play from behind that well. Obviously, they put up a fight against Oregon. They went down early, made it a little close, but Oregon just put the foot on the gas and, stomped on their throats for the rest of the second half. So I don't have a lot of faith in Penn State if they get down early. So if SMU can jump on them, they got a chance, but that's their only chance.
All right, I had Arizona State beating Clemson in the next round, Oregon, Penn State beating SMU, Georgia beating Indiana. So my final four was Arizona State, Oregon, Penn State, Georgia. Semifinalists, Oregon, Georgia, Oregon over Georgia in the title.
I think I like that. I think it depends a lot on what we're going to see out of Gunnar Stockton.
So how much time do I have before – oh, hey, lady. Before I have to, lock that in? Can I wait all the way to, the 19th?
I think so.
Okay, bet.
I think I like Georgia. I don't know. I like Oregon to win over Georgia. It is like I said though. It's Gunnar Stockton is a very interesting factor, I think,
Did you
for the
see
Georgia
Brooks Austin
Bulldogs.
talking about installing run game action for him?
No.
He said, Georgia needs to install the Vanderbilt, Oklahoma split zone run, quarterback run plays.
Do it. Just stomp on their throats. I don't, it's just, like I said, it's very interesting. There was and I don't know, I wasn't there on the field. Didn't talk to any players, haven't talked to any players, but it just seemed like watching that SEC championship, there was a noticeable like morale shift among the team when Gunnar Stockton got in the game and started making some plays, and almost as if everybody was kind of sick holding Carson Beck's, dead weight behind him.
That's what.
So this could be a Georgia team, a Georgia team scorned almost, where they're going to go on a tear here.
I'm glad that you noticed that as well, because that was when I first texted to my friends and said, "Does it look like the Georgia players
they started playing a lot
harder for Gunnar than they were for Carson Beck? Like they didn't like him." You remember the Coach Saban line? The team will always tell you who the starting quarterback is.
I think they might have told Kirby on last Saturday night. I mean, I was looking at, I don't think I could find it right now because it's been hours since I saw the tweet, but I saw somebody and it was, breaking down the actual like in-depth, very analytical statistics of, average target depth, all the things for Carson Beck this year. And he has been atrocious this season. I mean, he basically broke it down to red, orange, green, blue. For blue if you're in the top 10, green if you're top 25, and so on and so forth. He was red in almost every category. I mean, he's been pretty utterly atrocious this season for the Georgia Bulldogs. They have really not been able to rely on him to make plays at hardly any point this season. He's turned the ball over a ton. He comes off in the media to me like maybe he's a bit of an abrasive person to be around.
Stoned all the time?
I don't know what
we're at the end of the show, so we can be like nobody's listening at this point.
I think he thinks very highly of himself. And he comes off like that a little bit to me.
You don't think that
2-3 weeks ago?
You don't think that he's just like
a little spacey,
just drugged out all?
Maybe
he looks like it. His eyes.
He does have the face of that. Yeah, he's got he's got those wide set eyes. Looks like a hammerhead shark kind of.
So I've been giving Carson Beck a pass all year long.
Mm-hmm, you have,
because everybody, a lot of my friends are Georgia fans. And they have been in my text all year long. Carson Beck sucks. I think he might a lot further than that. Yeah. Carson Beck is expletive. Mm-hmm. Whatever your favorite expletive is, they've used it.
They may be onto something.
I wasn't willing to go there until this weekend. Because to me, I've been watching Georgia thinking, that Arian Smith fella, 11, he's really fast, but he can't catch worth a darn.
Sure.
And he can't trust Lawson Lucky to line up in the right place. And Oscar Delp is a good player, but not as explosive. To me, Carson Beck is suffering from, I don't trust these jokers. I don't know if they're going to be at the right place at the right time. And I don't know if I deliver this ball, if they're going to catch it.
Is that his own fault, though?
Yeah, that's what I'm like this whole season. I'm like, Arian Smith. Dude,
because they look pretty good against Texas.
Arian Smith is like the biggest tease in college football. Always open, but it's just like bump right off his face. But I wasn't.
It looked like a different Georgia team.
Yeah, it definitely looked like, to me, it looked like, okay, all the stuff I said about Carson not trusting his teammates could be true. But it looked like on Saturday when Gunnar Stockton went in, this is exactly as you said. The team likes this guy a lot better. They play a lot harder. We give him more effort. Makes me wonder what's going on Sunday through Friday. What happened in the summer over the last couple of summers where there's just not team chemistry, where we just
got that big fancy Maserati, started blowing his teammates off. That's what it was.
Maybe so. So we'll see what happens with Georgia, but that was just my early feelings.
No, I'm with you. I think this is a Georgia team with a new attitude as Gunnar Stockton, or with Gunnar Stockton under center. I don't know. I don't think he is the most outright talented player, but with 11 guys playing as hard as they can around you, you don't really have to be.
What are we thinking about Jaheim Otis and Caleb Odom tag teaming out to Colorado? We talked about Caleb Odom yesterday just a little bit, but now sounds like Jaheim Otis is not going to Ole Miss in the transfer portal, but instead going to Colorado.
Deion's gonna like him some Jaheim Otis. I bet. I think Deion's gonna love Jaheim Otis. That's been the thing that program has lacked. I think since his arrival is that presence in the trenches. Obviously, you see Shadur Sanders gets put on his back every play, but then defensively, they don't really get a ton of pressure up the middle. They kind of rely on Travis Hunter a lot, on the rest of the secondary to make plays. So yeah, I think I imagine Jaheim Otis will probably do very well on that Colorado defense. Will probably be a guy that you hear his name get called a lot. He'll probably make a lot of plays. And for Caleb Odom, I mean, if he can get his stuff together, if he can get in a situation where he feels like, I guess, he is being targeted appropriately and utilized appropriately, maybe he'll do really well. He's certainly going to be paired up with a pretty good quarterback in Julian Lewis.
They already got chemistry as well from high school. I wonder if that's what it's all about. Abby, come on.
I think I still don't know what Deion's going to do. I'd like to know what that pitch from Deion looks like to these players in the transfer portal, to players that he's recruiting, on whether or not he's locked into Colorado, whether or not
I'm sure he's telling them what he is.
Yeah, but I just want to hear. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for those meetings because, boy, you'd have to be pretty convincing, I would think, because just about everyone is saying Deion to the NFL.
Under 2.5 more years for, you got to put the half mark for the over under. Over under 2.5 more years for Deion Sanders.
I would take the under on that. Jerry's gonna come calling.
2 more years and gone.
Oh, you know what though? It might be the Raiders.
The Raiders. The autumn wind is a Raider.
You know. Every Sunday, Shadur tweets out after a Raiders win or loss, "Thank you, God."
Really?
Now, some people have speculated it may just be having to do with church that also falls on Sundays, but I've seen some things that maybe Deion's trying to pivot to get his son to Vegas. Which is weird to me because
I would not want my son in Vegas.
That's the only way that would make sense to me, is if he's also trying to pivot to get the job there.
I want my son in Buffalo, New York.
I don't want my kid to go play for Antonio Pierce or whatever, they're going to fire him this year, whoever they're going to bring in. So maybe
despite my hatred, I want my son to go play in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The most.
I mean, you saw what they did with Malik Willis this year. He won in 3 games.
Right. The most remote places where you don't get in trouble. Buffalo, New York. I mean, I'm sure obviously you can get in trouble anywhere.
Buffalo's a pretty hectic place too. Can be.
Could it?
Oh, Buffalo's got some bad parts.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Roll Tide. I didn't realize that. I was just trying to think of places to not be in trouble. You don't want to go to the Falcons, Atlanta. You got plenty of opportunity there. New Orleans.
Definitely don't want to go to Vegas, New Orleans, New York, LA.
It's Green Bay.
I would like San Diego. San Diego seems like a nice, calm place. Yeah. I guess you can't do it. It's LA now. No, duh.
Terrible.
San Diego would have been nice. I've always heard good things about that. I had a roommate I used to have a roommate that was from San Diego. He loved it there.
What do you think about what's happening in Ohio? These jokers.
I would be so embarrassed to be an Ohio State fan right now.
Yes.
I mean,
tell the people who haven't seen the headline.
OHIO Sportsmanship Act, I think is what it's called, was introduced into Ohio today. I don't remember who it was that signed off on it, but essentially it will make it a felony act to plant your team's flag on the horseshoe field. I don't know if this applies to, I don't know if this goes down to the high school level in Ohio up to, I don't know if it's going to apply to the Red Hawks over there or the Bobcats, but this is just ridiculous. Oh, man. I've got a story about it now. Ohio State Republican Representative Joshua Williams introduced the OHIO Sportsmanship Act, the law being proposed in wake of the number of flag planting incidents around the country following college football games. Here's how it reads, quote, "No person shall plant a flagpole with a flag attached to it in the center of a football field at Ohio State Stadium of the Ohio State University on the day of a college football competition, whether before, during, or after the competition. Whoever violates this section is guilty of a felony of the 5th degree." Now, in the state of Ohio, a 5th-degree felony comes with a prison sentence of 6 to 12 months and could be a fine of up to $2,500. What are we doing here, folks? I mean, this obviously will not get passed or anything like that. I don't, this is all
What's this joker's name?
Josh Williams.
That's the last time we're saying it because that's the only reason he's putting it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only reason he's writing this up is to get his name out there.
He was elected in November of 2022.
you're a joker.
You are a joker. He went to Toledo. He didn't go to Ohio State. This is purely just to make a name for himself. This guy is this is ridiculous.
SAWFT, the soft. Look, we said it when it happened after rivalry weekend. If you don't want teams to plant flags in your stadium, win the game.
Pretty simple.
If they win the game and they plant, here's what I don't understand, Mason. I'm going to take the loser's perspective. I've lost the game. That's in my home stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I don't want the opposing team to plant their flag on my. The game is over. I've lost.
Mm-hmm.
The shame has happened.
Mm-hmm.
The shame is shaming. It is setting in. What is planting the flag or not
exactly
matter at this point? It is obviously a symbolic act, and it definitely is a symbolic act of, we've conquered you, blah, blah, blah. Buddy, the scoreboard says it. 42-41, 42-13, whatever the case may be. You lost the game.
Yeah.
So that's what,
just going for pride at that point.
I hate. I don't have a problem with pregame fights. I hate postgame fights. You had 60 minutes to fight these jokers, and you didn't do it. And so postgame flag fanny, dude, they are the victors. They're celebrating a win.
Mm-hmm.
You're not involved in that celebration. Go to your locker room and start crying.
Yep.
Go to your locker room, take your stuff off. Go to your locker room and kick the, kick the whiteboard.
Yeah,
you want to do. But the game is over.
Yeah. Where was this fight on the field 10 minutes ago when you had the chance to actually change the outcome? No, this is, like you said, soft, Paul.
Terrible, awful. One last thing for us. Do you see Lane Kiffin getting a little juicy on Twitter?
I saw a little bit about it.
He retweeted something and undid it really quick. Lane Kiffin retweeted a tweet from an Arkansas fan. Arkansas fan basically was complaining about the Razorbacks being a feeder program for Ole Miss. And they were like, why are we doing this? Everybody good that we've got goes to Ole Miss or something like that. Something of that sort. And Lane Kiffin retweets it and then undoes the retweet because obviously it doesn't look good that, hey, we're using another conference opponent as a feeder program. You got a lot of heat now. You brought up with Hunter Yurchek and Arkansas and the transfer portal. And Lane Kiffin always stirring some stuff up.
Yeah, I think it's just Lane Kiffin's MO. He lives for the drama. He lives for the attention. He lives to make everyone a little upset at any given moment. The every year they talk about the SEC coaches group chat that they have, and I'm sure Lane Kiffin is the most active poster.
Who's not in the group chat?
Eli Drinkowitz.
Yeah, that's one. I think there's another one that's pretty obvious that's not in the group chat. Because
Jeff Levy probably hasn't made it in there yet.
Jeff's in there. He and Lane Kiffin are buddies. As soon as he got hired, Lane Kiffin said, "Hey, let me. This guy's cool."
Ooh wee.
You know who it is? The biggest narc in the league.
Shane Beamer.
That's a pretty good guess. But I think that Brian Kelly is.
Nobody likes Brian Kelly.
They've got a 16-person chat with everyone because this is what we have to have,
and it gets one text every year.
Right. Good luck, guys.
Yep.
Maybe it's a 17-person chat with Greg Sankey.
Yeah.
Good luck, guys. Have a great season. And Brian Kelly every year. Thanks, Greg. Looking forward to it. And nobody else replies. But then you've got the separate 13, 12-person chat, and Brian Kelly's just out on it, and they're just roasting it.
I think even then you've got. Outside of that, I bet you've got your one with Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss. Probably you've probably got ones with South Carolina, Vandy, and Florida or something. I guarantee there's all kinds of combinations of these coaches talking to each other and trying to plot against one another.
And Nick Saban's in all of them. Nick Saban's in all of them, just lurking, just
Oh man.
All right, we got to finish for the day. We want to thank everybody for watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, and Twitter, for listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Amazon. We appreciate everybody who's doing that. We see a lot more numbers lately, and you make me very, very happy. Tell a friend about this show, the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, as we do it each and every day, each and every weekday right here on BamaCentral.com. We want to thank Derek Daniel and State Farm for sponsoring the program and giving us a beautiful place to record, the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Call them at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. And of course, we want to thank our friends Purple Turtle Roofing. They're the most reliable residential roofing replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. Call Dustin Foley and his team at Purple Turtle Roofing today for all your roof replacement needs. We'll get out of here for the day. We'll be back on a Thursday, getting you closer and closer to this Alabama-Creighton basketball game on Saturday. We'll talk to you on Thursday right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.